We got sandwich. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, December 9th. I'm calling to order the Carson Reclamation Authority special meeting. Um, in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, if you require disability-related modification or accommodation to attend or participate in this meeting, including auxiliary aids or services, please call the City Clerk's office at 310-952-1720, at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Um, there's a list of things that we need to do, and don't need to read over, and that's treat everyone courteously. And the rules of decorum, they're not on the board, but we're not going to go over those either. Public information: the public may address the members of the Carson Reclamation Authority during the designated public comments. There will be 2 oral communication sessions, one for items on the agenda and others for matters not on the agenda. Comment time is limited to 3 minutes. If you're not able to attend the meeting in person, public comments can be submitted before the meeting. You can email your comments to cityclerk@carsonca.gov. The cutoff time to submit any email communication is by, well, it's not 2 p.m. Should have been at what time, Madam Clerk? 8:30, 7:30. Written communication can be dropped off in the city clerk's office. The cutoff time is also 7:30 for this special meeting. Public viewing is available, live streamed on the city's web at www.carsonca.gov or on YouTube, www.youtube.com/C City of Carson, California official YouTube page, on cable Spectrum Channel 35 and AT&T Channel 99. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Board Member Thomas.
Here.
Board Member Aldridge.
Present.
Board Member Hobson. Authority Vice Chair Hicks. Noted that he's walking in at 10:34 a.m. And Authority Chair Davis Holmes.
Present.
Thank you.
We'll have a flag salute by Board Member Aldridge.
Please stand. And place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a prayer by Board Member Thomas, please.
Please bow with me. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for another day. We're thankful for this city. We're thankful for the leadership that we have in this city. And as we go forth throughout this meeting and all meetings that are held, we pray that we will all be on one accord and making decisions for the best of the city and the residents who reside here. Thank you for all of your blessings. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All communications for matters listed on the agenda, Madam City Clerk.
There are no items for this, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes for the October 7th regular meeting and November 4th, 2024 regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none.
We'll need to vote old school, Madam Mayor. Roll call vote.
Yes, please.
Board Member Thomas.
Yes.
Board Member Aldridge.
Yes.
Authority Vice Chair Hicks.
Yes.
Authority Chair Davis Holmes.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. It'll be noted that Hobson was absent.
Next, we have the consent calendar, approval of items 2, 3, and 4.
Move approval of consent calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. Into discussion, or would anyone like to pull an item? Hearing none. I'm going to pull item number 4 for just a brief discussion. Staff.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded.
We're going to approve items 2 and 3.
Okay.
It's been
Board,
moved.
Board Member Thomas,
Yes.
Board Member Aldridge,
Yes.
Authority Vice Chair Hicks,
Yes.
Authority Chair Davis Holmes. Okay, it's 4-0. It'll be noted that Hobson was absent.
Staff.
So, Madam Chair, as the board is aware, the CRA has a whole number of different insurance policies that it has to manage over the course of the year. You have your directors and officers of public liability official insurance that you approve, I think, in May. In October, you have the property insurance and the comprehensive general liability policy. And this policy, the contractor pollution liability policy, is renewed every December. The CPL for the last couple of years has been what we call a bridge policy. It's been kind of limping along until we get into the big construction work, which is going to start. We'll be back to you in January with an amendment to this policy. But this CPL has covered only the, excuse me, the O&M activity, really the management of the gas collection system and the groundwater extraction system and the site work during the course of the year. Over the last couple of years, it's been, it was $52,250. I think it's based on the value of the amount of the contract. This year it's 58,000 and some, 58,850. There's what's called surplus lines taxes. On top of that, it's about almost another $1,900. That's based on the value of the contract that we have with RES to provide the O&M activity. It does not provide pollution liability, comprehensive pollution or contractor pollution liability coverage for the construction of Leonardo yet. We're working on that. I was on the phone this morning with the attorneys who's working with the broker at Marsh on the application and on the amendment. We will be back in January for an amendment to this policy that we're binding today, because this policy expires on December 21st, so we can't wait till January for an amendment. That amendment, learned this morning, would be about $50,000, so almost the full value, but it's for $50 million in work. But the liability is different. The pollution liability is different for the construction of Leonardo. Largely, Leonardo's not in the landfill. I mean, it's in the landfill, but it's not landfill itself. So the pollution liability risk is different and the rate is different. So, but it's what we've had to do with that is that the contractor, Snyder Langston, who's the one that will be building the road, was pricing a standalone contractor project specific contractor pollution liability policy, and they were getting quotes of like 500,000, and they would have passed that on to us. We're like, this is crazy, right? So this is a lot of money, and so that amendment will have them in this policy as a named insured with us as a kind of a wrap policy, and it saves all of us a lot of money. We're also going to have to do something probably fairly similar with the comprehensive general liability policy that you just bound in October for somewhere, trying to remember what the dollar amount on that was. But the contractors are finding that the general liability for building a $50 million road policy is like 500,000. So, and so what don't want to find ourselves in a situation where the contractor has to buy a $500,000 policy, the development manager, RES, has to buy a $500,000 policy, and then we, as the owner, have to buy a $500,000 policy. So we're looking at rolling those into quite similar wrap. It might still be 500,000, but it would be 500,000 once for everybody. And so that's what we're going to be doing on our Christmas vacation because we are, and I let the chair know the other day, we are actually out to bid. We're out to bid on the road. The bids went out last, I think Tuesday, last Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday, I think. And so we're having to finalize the contracts with Snyder Langston, finalize the contract with RES. The RES contract will come to this board. I think we bring the Snyder Langston for confirmation, even though it's RES and Snyder Langston contract, but I think we present it to the board for consent. And all of the insurance policies, all of these insurance issues, CPL in this policy, the general liability, we have to kind of come up with a solution on those, be wrapping those policies and probably binding those policies all at the same meeting. But it means that once all of those contracts are entered into and the policies are bound and all that, then the prime contractor, Snyder Langston, will be able to begin awarding the work to the subs, and then we can mobilize and start getting out there. So we've talked, as you know, we've talked about this for a better part of a year, more than a year now, on Leonardo specifically, and it's been a lot of work to get to this point, but we're here. And so now we're into the heavy paperwork stuff to try to get it done, but this is part of it. So, but this is a lot of work. It's all attorneys and it's all insurance brokers and it's all contractors, but it's and then me, and then to get it all down on paper. So that's the report on this policy, kind of where we are right now. But it gives you a sense of the context of what this policy is in relation to, kind of everything else that's happening. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll start to knock down a lot of this stuff, and then I think right in January we'll be back to you with probably with the bundle of everything, and we'll be able to award.
Thank you. I knew there was more to this report than that. And I'm excited about the fact that Leonardo has gone out for bid. And my concern is the way I expressed it before. We need to be I think you're going to be bringing before the city council an item to request some additional funding, because I'm looking at these two $500,000 contracts, and I know we only have 1.5 million or something left.
Well, these will be specifically road related, so we are just going to charge those into the road project.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the CRA's general account wouldn't cover these because they're related specifically to the road construction.
Well, that's what I needed to hear.
That's what allows me to sleep at night. So yeah.
Great. So you will be coming back to council for this.
Yeah. So I think you had asked that we we'll be back to this board, but also to the city council to kind of lay out the progress on everything, sort of where everything is and what's happening, and so that the city council, the rest of the city council, and the public is really informed on the status of kind of where everything is. So.
Yeah, I want to make sure they know, because it cuts out some of those rumors and lies that are out there. If we could do a report, and this is a good time to do that report.
Yeah, the nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's happening. Yeah.
And if I kind of backs of what we've been saying when I'm out, no, you've been misled. So
yeah.
I just had a conversation this past weekend, so I'm glad that'll be on the agenda. Any more conversation or discussion, board member?
Yes. So I had heard preliminarily that the RFP was being released. What is the deadline for response?
I think it's kind of the middle of January. I mean, December's a funny month to be bidding,
Right.
and so so went out beginning of December, and they will begin to start getting bids in, and probably early part of January, middle of January. Now, again, they're not going to be able to award, they're not going to be willing to award or able to award until their contract with us.
Right, I understand that.
Right.
But
So
then
everybody's,
generally-
as you recall, we have a pre-construction contract with Snyder Langston
Mhm.
that we're actually going to have to come back for an amendment on that because the pre-construction period went longer than we thought it was going to be over in October, I think, and it's not. We're still in it. We'll come back with an amendment to that. Then their construction contract, there is a construction contract that they are in. So all of these contracts that we talk about getting the contract done are just amendments to the contract to get facts and dollars and stuff like that for the highly specific road project in there. And so those are, we're very close on Snyder Langston. I think there's one issue left, and then this insurance, and then RES, we have a meeting, kind of an afternoon long meeting tomorrow to kind of go through the list on the RES issues to resolve. And but I think middle of January is about when pricing is going to be starting to come in, and then they'll be ready to begin awarding. And it's going to be different subs. So, I mean, we've bid the wet utility work. We've bid the street improvement plan, really the street improvement work. There's still geotechnical environmental work that's still in design, so it's not bid. And that's really the buffer, the cell 2 buffer, cell 1 buffer, because we have to design the buffer. And so that environmental work and the kind of work associated with that, mainly on cell 2, is not part of the bid package. There's a whole constellation of work that's sort of ancillary work that's not really highly specific to Leonardo. Things like the Torrance lateral landscaping, work on Delamo, stuff like that. That hasn't been bid yet either. So that'll come later. But the first thing is, and I think this is your question really, the first set of awards is really the first set of work that's being bid, and we're looking at that probably in January for them
Okay,
to.
so if I
award.
can just like narrow this down a little bit more, because I understand there are different phases and different parts that have to be done. And you have multiple RFPs that will be going out for those bids.
Correct.
This particular bid is already out, though, is what my understanding is. Did I
Right.
not? And so when you issue a bid, generally there's a deadline by which those who are going to be bidding have to submit their bid. That's the date I was looking for, unless
Yeah, it's not. I think
it's
it's
an
not.
open-ended bid, or what do you
It's a
have?
little. It's a hybrid. It's sort of a hybrid. I think it's not like the way we bid, a thing where it goes to the city clerk's office and there's a bid opening and everybody stands around
Yeah.
and looks at the bids as they're open
Yeah.
and all that. It's submitted through the plan room. It's submitted to the contractor, the prime contractor. The bids don't come here. The bids go to Snyder Langston and they award. And
Is it a closed bid? Are we only submitting to Snyder Langston, or is it an
Snyder
open
Langston
bid?
is a general contractor, so they are the general contractor for all the construction work. The bidding, when we say it's out to bid, we're not bidding to them or somebody else.
Okay.
They're it. Then they are bidding, and so
And then
the
they're
firms
putting out
yeah.
to bid whatever
So-
they need to put out to
right.
bid. So as we have given them the go ahead and we sent a bid to them for this to happen, then they proceed from there. And so we don't have any
Right.
dates at this point as to.
I should have looked it up before the meeting. I did. I didn't.
It's okay.
but
We'll
yeah.
find out in January. And the only reason
um,
I'm asking is not so much, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but as the mayor said, she's attending a lot of meetings
Right.
Councilman Hicks is attending a lot of I'm attending a lot of meetings, and people are asking these
Yeah.
kinds of questions. And so when you say, "Oh, it's coming," we've been saying it's coming for a long time.
When?
But what we're now saying is, hey, we're at a point where we've never been before.
Yes.
Made a great deal of progress, and added to the meetings that we attend, it would be great to be able to say we've issued a bid. The bidding closes on this date, which means that we're some dates. But it's okay. We don't have to do it
Right.
today. Just
Yeah. And again, one point, additional point I want to make, and go back on the, certain parts, scopes of work haven't been bid yet because they're not designed yet.
right.
And so, there's been a lot of talk, and a lot of our agreements talk about the GMAX, right? Or the GMP, the guaranteed maximum price contract. And so, how do you have a guaranteed maximum price contract when you haven't bid everything out, right? And so, and what we don't want to do, and the way it's set up, is to not find ourselves in where you have a GMP, say, on just what utilities, or just what utilities and the street improvement work, and then everything else is a change order. So we're not change ordering the rest of the project. They are going through the bid process, so you get competitive bidding, for the work for all the additional scopes. But all of those little scopes will come in as amendments to the master contract, as like little mini GMPs for that scope. And then, because change orders are really supposed to be something that it's not, I know we have to do this work, and so let's get the contractor to give me a price. It's something that arises in the field.
Unforeseen.
You didn't
Right.
anticipate it.
That
You didn't know.
anticipate. Exactly.
They have to then price a change order. There are certain things. I'll give you one example. With our recycled water project. So we've got to do recycled water. West Basin wants a flush out. They want to be able to open a pipe and flush recycled water down into the sewer, because we're not going to use enough to really keep the water moving enough, for it to be fresh and not smell, and all that sort of stuff. So occasionally, a couple of times a year, they're going to want to get in and do it. Well, that meant now we have to go back and amend the sewer plan design. And so we have to go back to LA County and the sewer and say, well, we have this one more thing that we need to add to the sewer, which is a flush out on recycled water. Well, that's a whole process now on your sewer. And, and so now we're in this process, and we're trying to get the two agencies to talk to one another. But it means that we've had to go to bid on what utilities with conceptually what we know we need to build. We've got a design for that. We don't know if it's approved or not, or if they're going to change it. So it goes to bid with, there's going to be an allowance, right? So they're not necessarily bidding on that, but there's an estimate of what the thing that we are going to have to construct likely is, and a dollar amount that's estimated for that to be.
Well, that change costs.
And so if we build it, the money's in the budget, it's in the contract to do it. If we don't build it, we build something else, and that's how you do it. It's still a GMP, for that work, but there's an allowance. It's not a contingency. It's a known thing. So you do it by allowance. And there's dozens of things like that, related to traffic signals, streetlights, and things like that. We're doing geotech right now. The Leighton and Associates are doing borings along the edge of Cell 2, where we have traffic signals and I think some streetlights, to figure out, I mean, we're in the clean, we're not in the waste, or are we in the waste? Does the waste come down, and how far down do you go before you hit waste? Is that going to have to be, if there's no waste at all, you could put that street light in, without having to put it on a pile. If there's waste, you've got to put a pile in. So do we have piles, not piles? There's another structure called a caisson. Is it a caisson? And so all the geotech work is sort of designed waiting pending the results of the borings. But, that work has been bid kind of with an allowance for, it's either this or it's this. It's either A or it's B. A or B, A or B. And it's A or B for 27, different structures. And so, but that's one of the things that meant that it's one of the things that caused bidding not to happen until December, and where might have happened in October. Some of those things we had to get a little further along so that we knew sort of what what it was. Otherwise, it's just you're throwing a dart at the wall, on things like that. So anyway,
The short version.
yeah, exactly.
But hopefully, as you guys are going forward, and I do understand change orders versus having to go out to
Right.
RFP and all of that.
Right.
But in your planning, in your charts, and I'm sure you will, there needs to be some milestone set as far as when that might happen. The date may slip. It may slip, but at least there will be something that everyone is working towards making it happen. So if you run into a situation where you got to put another pylon, or depending on what the situation is.
So I know we're very big on schedule.
No, I am. That's just my issue.
And so as the gases are cooling and the planets are forming, we're getting more information on that. We do know, and we've known all along, that the actual construction of the road is about a 15 to 16 month project. So the actual construction, 15, 16 months. So if it starts in, we'll say,
Year and a half.
early, say mid-February, end of February, something like that, 16 months in that is the middle of 2026 is about when it would be,
good year.
that road would be done. So, and that's pretty fair. And, but there's still some wild cards.
Right.
Electrical design is still in design. Still other things that we're still waiting on. So,
But even that information, 15 to 16 months for construction, once you've completed all of the preliminary things that need to happen, that gives us an idea.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're in meetings, you're talking about it's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, then when is it coming?
Right.
And the mayor was asked that question at a meeting we were both at this past Saturday. And the councilman said, so fast forward that. So we're looking at probably somewhere around toward the end of 2026.
I think kind of well before the end of 2026, but probably late summer, you're probably done.
Of 2026.
Of 2026. yeah.
Okay. So that gives us an idea. And then people say, well, you told me when we met last Saturday it was coming. And now it's 10 months down the road where you said it's coming. But if we could, kind of put a fence around that and manage expectations a little better, that helps a lot.
It's not an overnight process.
Exactly.
Like some folks want to believe.
I'm complete, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So, when we do the report, you say you're going to bring it in January, an update from the CRA board. It'll be in January, the second meeting in January. Okay.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it whenever you want.
The second meeting in January is good.
Yeah.
And then at that time, we'll have all your little things that you have in your brain in this report. So I don't need to ask for one because it's coming in
Right.
January. Okay. Yeah, because this is important to have included in your notes. I saw you. Did you see Jared's little notebook with all his handwritten notes? Okay, don't lose that. Oh, he has it writing down as he's thinking at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's I wanted an update on that, and I saw these numbers, and I was alarmed, and I know my treasurer is here, and she missed it, but they will be coming to council for the CRA dollar amounts that you and I discussed because we are running low on funds. But this does not affect the report does not affect the CRA funding because it's paid for out of the Leonardo Street account. Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. Please vote verbally.
Board Member Thomas,
Yes.
Board Member Aldrich,
Yes.
Authority Vice Chair Hicks,
Yes.
Authority Chair Davis Holmes.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. It's 4-0. It'll be noted that Hobson is absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oral communications for matters not listed, we do not have anyone. Oral communications from authority members.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Madam
so
Chair,
thank
board
you.
member.
I just want to make an announcement. First of all, I want to say happy holidays to everyone. And I'm not trying to be politically correct or anything by saying happy holidays. I say happy holidays because it's all inclusive. So from Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's, but specifically for those who like to hear it, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all of that. Okay, now that being said, we have Christmas coming up. CCCAF, with the support of the mayor and so many others in the city, will be hosting its annual toy giveaway. That's going to happen on the 19th of this month. The 19th is a Thursday. So Thursday, December the 19th at 5 p.m., we will be giving away toys to our Carson students, residents, whatever. But it is for Carson. It will take place at the Carson Event Center, the Juanita Melinda McDowell Center, the community center, whatever you know it as, and it will take place in the atrium. So that's at 5 p.m., December 19th. We look forward to all of you joining us so that we can have a festive celebration and send you off with lots of toys. Thank you so much. I am complete.
Thank you. Board member Aldrich.
I just wanted to say happy holidays to everyone, and just hope we can keep it safe. That's it.
Thank you. Board member Hicks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As my colleagues have stated, happy holidays to the city of Carson. I too will be giving a toy giveaway on December the 21st at Tridestone Missionary Baptist Church at 1249 Carson Street. It'll be on the 21st of December from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Carson residents drive-through. You know, come in, honk your horn. We will have Santa, elves, the Grinch, a whole lot of other animals and reindeers if we can get them all in place. But come out and have a good time with your kids. And I want to make a quick invitation to all of the residents that are out there who are listening. Along with myself, the mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem Juwan Hilton, we did successfully retain our seats on the city council. And I just want to invite all of you out to a swearing-in ceremony, which is going to be on December the 17th at the Carson Event Center at 6 p.m. in Hall A, B, and C. I just want to wish you guys to come on out and see the history of the city, that we continue to move the city forward and making sure the city of Carson is always the beacon that it always has been. But Madam Chair, I just had a couple of questions I wanted to ask of staff, and I think that staff had brought it up in prior meetings. In relationship to surplus material that's on site, has there been a plan of action on how that surplus material will be distributed or removed or incorporated into the project? And then the second part is to bring back a status report of the sales development outside of the Simon and Macerich issues, and just keeping up abreast. And I know that the chair has been requesting this, and I think it was in writing at one point in some time, but I think we haven't had a new update going into the new year 2025, what's going to be, because as it's been stated, I've been going to meetings and I've been bombarded with questions from our residents, just wanting to know what's happening with the 157 acres. They're proud of our city. They just look at all of the developments that's happening, but they keep coming back to, but whenever that dirt gonna start moving? It's like we see everything else happening, but we don't see nothing over there happening. So those are the questions that I have.
Do you want answers right now?
Well, no, I mean, I don't want, I know it's a long, but just if we can bring that back, I think the chair will probably give you more direction on that process, but I just wanted to bring that back to the entire body so that we can have that.
Well, actually, on your second question, the authority council is not here today. Did ask that I bring up. She would like maybe one more special meeting before the end of the year, to talk about the Cell 2 litigation and the status on that. And so I was going to talk to you afterward, so just sort of mentally pencil that in that we may be back one more time before we break for the holiday.
That'll be a closed session.
And that'd be a closed session, so not public discussion. There is a little movement on Cell 1. It's some new thinking on Cell 1, and so we're starting to look at opportunities and different types of projects.
Yeah, bring us
on Cell
back a
1.
report and then
And so
yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda.
On the first thing in the surplus materials is actually one of the contract points in the finalization of our option agreement, amended and restated option agreement with Carson Goose Owner for Cell 3, 4, and 5. There's some of our surplus material on Cell 3, 4, and 5 that we've got to do something with, and then we've got a lot of material on Cell 1 and a little bit on Cell 2. And so we've got it all characterized. We've got it all measured. We know what we have. We have, in terms of crushed concrete and dirt, we have more than we need. And so it is surplus. And so we're in the process right now of figuring out what we can do with it and where it can go. Can it go offsite? Is there a market for it? Can somebody come take it for free? That sort of thing. The big thing that I'm dealing with right now, the specific thing, is, as you recall, we have the stockpile, the liner stockpile on Cell 3 over near the Landfill Operations Center. That will ultimately have to move when Carson Goose Owner in the first quarter, thereabouts, next year, starts grading it. It's a little later than that because that's a later phase. But we have to decide if we want to leave it there, if we want to move it to Cell 2, what we want to do with it. And it's not
JR,
free.
could you just, once you guys decide, bring us back a little
Yeah,
report so
we'll
we can
do
have
that.
a long dialogue conversation.
It's
on
not
that.
agendized, so I shouldn't
Yeah,
really
you
say much
shouldn't
more
be.
than that.
Yeah.
So,
Bring
but-
back a status report or
Yeah,
but
action.
those are a couple of things I'll come back to you with the status on. So
Okay.
yeah,
You complete? Those are two items that we're going to bring the January back, and it'll come to us
Yeah.
before it goes to council. Anyway,
yep.
You know, I be thinking.
I guess. Want to wish everyone a happy holidays, as we stated earlier, and we have 4 more years. You have me for another 4 years. We have Councilman Hicks for another 4 years, and Mayor Pro Tem Councilman Jawan Hilton for another 4 more years. I think the residents spoke loud and clear. First time in history that I did, the mayor's seat. 60% of the votes came in for your mayor. So I'm excited about that. The message was out that we want to keep this team intact because we've seen progress here that the city council and the CRA board, I want to commend also for being on top of and hold everything and holding JR to the to the fire. But we have 4 years and we're looking for great things, and we have a lot of dirt that's moving in the city, and I'm really excited about that. There's going to be some bigger things that's going to be coming before the councils in the next couple of months for approval. That's really going to be exciting for this city. I won't share them with you right now, but just to say thank you, happy holidays, and to my colleagues on the council, not council, my CRA board members, keep my sister-in-law in prayer. Had some bad news yesterday. She's in the hospital, and so just keep her in prayer, and for our family. Yeah. And without that, I will say this meeting is adjourned. You crying, JR?